This asynchronous was how many types are there? One is batch, schedule, future, and the queueable, right? These are the four things. We saw about the batch, right? And we saw about the scheduler. And the future is the special thing here. Okay. I'll tell you why. The queueable also, these three things are required the interfaces. But for above three required respective interfaces. Okay. And it's a classes. Understood, guys? So whatever we have written, right? The batch is a class, schedule is a class. In the same fashion, the queueable also is the same thing. However, we have written the schedulable. That will also have the, the database that the queueable interface, and it will also have the execute method. Okay, there is no difference at all in other things. Okay, the only the difference here is the future. Future is not a class. It's a just method, just a method. Okay, with annotation called future. We'll use the annotations here. If you annotate the method with a future, then that method will be treated as a asynchronous process, and that method will be executed. I mean, that method will be executed in an asynchronous process, which is the separate thread, right? Why we so example is uh, let me tell you this future public static void. So this future method will sorry yes future. Okay, is that right? This is a feature annotation. It will be sorry. Sorry, it's my bad. Okay. So this feature method doesn't have any of the return types. Okay. It's just a method. Let's say, sorry, let's say update user records. Will accept list of IDs. Okay. So in this one, right, the future method, as I said, right, these three are the classes, but this is only the method. This method will be used in anywhere. Most of the times, this method will be used, in a triggers and some other processes to avoid, some of the limitations. I will explain you those things. Okay. So basically, when we will go for the asynchronous processes, when we hit the limits is a one, and the second is large data process, correct? So here the limits are very, very important. So limits are 101 SOQL limits, 150 DML limits, right? So and etc. We have a lot of the things are here. Also, your very important thing here is mixed DML statements. You guys, so you may all understood the circle 101 exception and the DML exception, right? And how about the mixed DML exception means? Have you know about it? So mixed DML exception in the sense DML exception, okay? If we are inserting or updating the standard objects and not standard objects, what is called? I forgot the name. What is it? That's correct. Thanks for the help. Setup object, non-setup object. So in Salesforce, right? Setup objects. Example, users, profile, role. These are the setup objects. Okay. So wherever you are setting up, in our these are the, we can call it as these are the standard objects also, but these are the setup objects in the Salesforce, which will be set up by the application, right? So in these things, these objects, data, and combined with the non-setup objects, which is account, contact, any custom object, any standard object, right? Any custom object, any standard object. If you try to insert these two things in a same transaction, let's say have a method, do logic over here, account SCC, new account, name equals to test, insert account, user u equals to new user, last name equals to test, username equals to testdemo@test.com, email is also same, let me put it the same thing. For every user we need the profile ID, right? Who must have a profile ID. We will pass the profile ID here, okay? Some of the profile ID over here. So to get the profile ID equals to profile ID from profile where name like admin, okay? Limit. I can put this p.id over here and the role is not mandatory, so I can ignore that. So main important things are last name, username, email, phone number, and the nickname. And there's anything we can provide. Okay. So here now I'm going to insert you over here. If I do so, this is a setup object and this is a non-setup object. Correct? If you do the both transaction in a same transaction, then you will get the mixed DML exceptions. So to avoid that, what we have to do is we have to make the transaction separately. Okay. If your user is required your account ID, then you have to pass the account ID to this particular transaction in a separate asynchronous process, which we can use anything over here, right? Batch, schedule, queueable, and the future. For these things, for this small thing, we don't want to waste our the resources, right? The batch will take a lot of time. The schedule is only depends on the batch, and the queueable also will have the some other advantages. Okay. So if we want to have these simple things, we can use the feature methods. Now what I can do is here is, so I can just separate this methods into two parts. Logic one here, which is a normal thing, and logic two over here with the feature annotation, right? This feature annotation is always takes the, it's always take only the list of data types is, I mean, non-primitive data types, and it will take it like string IDs or anything, but it won't take any of the S objects. Okay, the disadvantage with the feature is it won't take any of the S object as a parameter. It will take only the non-primitive data types like ID, string, those two things. Okay, so here mine is, I'll pass the account IDs over here, right? If I pass the account IDs, I'll get these account IDs. If I want to insert this, customer customer community portal, then I'll get this account ID. Account ID field in the user, which the account ID. Okay. So if I want to do something like this, so I have to separate this method into a separate transaction. Now, so here what I can simply do is I'll just pass the asynchronous method over here because it's a static method. I can directly use the new list of ID, which is called the acc.id. So if you really see here, if we are passing only the IDs, not the S objects. Why we are not passing the S objects here to the future method? Because the future method will execute at any point of time whenever the resources are available. If you pass this S object to here, it will take whatever the values it is passing at that point of time, right? So within a fraction of second, that record might be changed by some other system or some other user, then you won't get the latest value of that record, right? So you will lose your updates. Understood, guys? So that's the reason only we won't pass the S object. So that's the reason the future method doesn't support the S object type. Okay. So that is the advantage, and the disadvantage with the feature is this. Okay. Also, we will use these feature methods when you want to separate the sockets also. If you reach the more than 100 sockets, whichever method is not required to be executed in the same transaction, then we can split it up into the feature methods. Okay, understood up to here? Yes. Sorry, you're saying this one? Yeah, I can pass this parameter. Okay, it's my typo mistake. So since this is a list, right? I know what is my account ID. Okay. So if you are inserting setup object and non-setup object in a same transaction, then you will get the table exception. Okay. Let me show you that. So let's see this. Okay. So this is your method, and method you are inserting an account, and you are getting the profile ID, and you are getting the role. Okay, and you are inserting a one of the user. Okay, I'm using this user. So I might be missing some of the required fields, so that's the reason I'm just retrieving this exact code. Okay, now let's I'll explain here, right? So there is some situations where you want to insert account and insert a user at the same time. Okay, in that case, if you try to write down your logic, both the logic, insert of an account, insert of a user in a same transaction, okay, then what happens? You will get the mixed DML exception. Let's see how this works. Sorry, I missed this insert. If you see here, yeah, I'm getting the mixed DML operation exception, right? Why? Because I'm inserting both account. This is a non-setup object, and a user. This is a setup object, right? So if I do the same thing in a same transaction, then I will get the mixed DML operation error. Okay. Let's take a one class so that you can understand. Create Apex class demo future class. So you guys are able to understand this method. The requirement is simple. Need to insert account and user records into the Salesforce. Okay. No need to mention into the Salesforce. Okay. I want to just insert both account and user records. Okay. If I do this, what happens now? What I'm trying to explain you here is there are some limitations in the Salesforce system. So if you do that, setup objects is a user and non-setup object is any of the standard object and or the custom object. If I do the same thing in a same transaction, so transaction is what? If I initiate this method in my anonymous block, then the transaction will be started and ending of the transaction is instead of in a user, right? If I use this class in my anonymous window, if I execute this method, let's see what happens. So you'll get the exception called mixed DML operation exception. Why it occurs? If you try to do the setup object or non-setup object in the same thing, you will get the exception. How to avoid this? By using the feature annotation, right? So if you make the method as a feature annotation, excuse me. So let me put it as a static void because the feature method is always the void. So here insert users, and this input is only the, as I said, the non-primitive data type. So it won't accept the S objects. S objects in the sense list of account, list of contact, list of anything, right? It will accept only the list or set of anything. Okay. Let's see. I'm passing the list of account IDs, ACC IDs. Okay. In this list of ACC IDs, what I'm trying to do here is I'm just removing this logic from this method and putting the logic into this method. Okay. And what I'm trying to do here is string ACC name. I want to put the account name as a username here. So to do that, I want to first get the account record first, right? So here, how I can get the record ID? Sorry, account name here. Select ID from, sorry, name from account where ID in ACC IDs. So now you will retrieve all your account IDs, right? Once you get all your account IDs here, this is a list of account IDs, list of accounts. So what we can do is we can insert users list. Okay, so since I have a lot of records over here, what I can do is here is string ACC from a list of accounts, right? These two things I can put it as a it should not be within the for loop, right? So I'm just emulating this string from the for loop. In the for loop, what I'm trying to do here is alias, email, local, time zone, all these things, username, right? So here I want to put last name equals to acc.name. Okay, I always want to use my last name as my um, account name. So if I put here in this way, what happens is And also I want to add all this list of accounts to be over here to that add of user. Now I pass the account IDs. From the account IDs, I am fetching the account names. Once I fetch the account names, I'm looping it and I am passing the account name to the user last name and adding to the list where it will be inserted. Okay, now what I will do is I will insert the list of accounts. As I said, the best practice is use the try catch blocks because we might get any of the exceptions on any point of time. So one more thing I'll explain you here. As we know, this is a sync. Okay, I don't want to mingle everything. I'm just writing the error on future call. Section E. If you see here, right, we are separated the inserting of the user from this method to this method. This method was annotated with a future method. Okay, if I annotate with the future, then this method will be treated as a asynchronous process. Okay, and this transaction will be executed in a separate thread. So I'm inserting the users here by using this thing and inserting the list of users. So now let's use this here instead of. So we need to pass the list of account IDs here. So new list of IDs of a.id. Okay. If I pass this from here to here, when I call this method will be called, but this method will be taken as a separate thread. I'll show you how it will be take the separate thread here. Understood, guys, up to here? Hello. So duplicate name field name. Where is the name, alias, email, language, last name? Sorry, the last name is already over here. I don't want to use this last name. Okay. Now your code has been successfully run. Now if you go and execute the same thing now, okay, and you can just always observe these things. So let me clear out all this, close all, and clear out all the logs. Okay. So the logs are empty now. Just observe the logs here. I'm just executing this. I have executed. If you see that the insert of account was taking this as the one of the transaction, and the other transaction is the future handler. If you see here, right, this future handler, it is running on a separate thread. See here, right? So now this method is executed in a separate thread and there is no DML exception occurred here because we are separating the two transactions. This is a setup object and sorry, this is a setup object and this is non-setup object. If you see here, this is the account which is already created in the system, right? So where are this account ID? We can go and check these two things. Why did I give the username test account? See here, you can see the test account was created over here. At the same time, you can check what happens to the user also, correct? You can check with the user also. It will only in this one. I want to check in the users. I think user will not be created because let's see the log over here. I think the limits exception will come into picture. See here, the license limit was exceeded over here. So the problem with this anonymous, sorry, this the asynchronous process is you don't know what is happening in the background, correct? Because you don't know anything about what is happening, whether uh, the process is successfully completed or not. You don't know anything whether the logic was executed successfully or not. If any error happens, so you don't know how to handle it. You can handle by using the exceptions like this. But so here we just put it as a system that debugs, but the system administrator or the business user doesn't know, right? So if you go and see here, Apex jobs, you can see that Apex job also. See, it says the future type is completed, correct? But when we see the log, the actual logic within this to insert of an user is not successful because of the DML exception, which is the license limit exception. So in the real use case, how we avoid these things is, so for this one, we will create a separate error log object and track whatever the exceptions is coming into the asynchronous processes. That asynchronous processes error message will be put it into the error log object. Understood? So here what we do is, in general, we'll create a custom object called error log, error logs object. I don't want to see this one. This is a number. This is starting from 1. Log number, allow reports because we do the reports, track field history, enable licensing. It's all things not reply, deploy, allow search. Okay. So if I want to create a custom tab, I can do that. Error log object. I can take anything. Shield. So I'm making the default on for everyone at this time. Include the tabs for every application. That doesn't really require sales. Only the sales is required. That's fine. And save. Once you save this error log object, right? In this error log object, what are the fields we want to create? So the main thing is we want to understand what is a class name, right? Our class name or a method name. So source, or else what we can say is class name, and this 255. So the other thing is text area long. In this one, what we do is message, the message. If we want, we can create a lot of other fields also. So at this time, I'm just creating only two things. Okay. If you want to track what type of this error message, which line, and if you want to track everything, you can track everything over here. Okay. So we have created the error log here. So now what I can do here is, in my exception, I'll create error log object, right? Log equals to new error log. So here the name is auto number. So I no need to mention the name here. The other important field is here is um, class name. What class name or what method name I'm using it. So this is a class name and this is a method name. Okay. And one more field called error message. Error message equals to e dot get message. Even if I want to get the line number also, line number, you can just append all these things. Okay. Get line number. Even if I want to get the method name, you can get the. I know to get the method name and all because the line number is enough, right? In this class. So once I'm done, I'll just insert the elog. Understood on this one, guys? So in real time, right, for any batches, so even whatever we have written here, right, in this batch class also, we are just returning the try catch, but you never know that in the backend what is happening, correct? So for that reason, always we use the error log object. Okay. So some of the companies will use in a different modes, but in general, the standard things what we use is the error log object. Okay. In this error log object, we will use it, and then so now if I again try to execute, let's say I'm putting okay. I'm inserting the 2 3 now. Okay. So in my asynchronous process, let's go and see again. I'm going to clear all the logs here, and I'm going to execute the same thing here. Okay. Execute the same. If I execute the same in the future method, if you see here, still insert is getting failed. Why this insert is getting failed? So this license is this is getting failed, right? So if you see in our error log object now, go back to your error log. We have error log object. In this error log object, the system admins can go ahead and then see the all the values. Hey, why it's not loading? Catch last name error log. I'm putting this try catch. I'm inserting some catching exception log. Insert log. Run future. Number 31. This is the insert. Try has been written over here. HTML error, and then this one is coming over here. Okay. Again, we are inserting again. This is a setup object and this is non-setup object, right? Okay. That's the reason it is getting over here. Come on. So why this error log is not created here? The reason is again we are inserting a setup object and non-setup object over here. Correct? So that's the reason it is not inserting over here. So if we want to do this, so through the future class, we can't achieve this error log things. Correct? Because you always having a mixed DML statements. Not only, I mean, in case of only the mixed DML statements. If you have other things, right? If you have other things like any other operations, this error log we will be work out. If you have the mixed DML operations, then only it won't be work out. In this case, what is the other option, right? So the other option what we have is from this exception we have to make a separate call. Correct? In general, right? We have a some of the limitations over here. Async process first, async to async. Is it possible? Possible only in few cases. Like, okay, future to future first. Yeah, yes, exactly. So that is what I'm trying to say. So to explain that, so that is what I'm trying to explain. Okay, future to future is we'll write down this method, one more future method, and then we'll put the logic over here. Right? This is not possible. Future to future is not possible because you are into the future transaction, but from future to future it is not possible. If you use again insert log, if I use this insert log over here, it won't be possible. Okay. So this is what you guys are trying to say, right? But what I'm trying to say here, okay, let me see. List errors. Okay, I can pass something like this. If I pass something like this, what happen is again it will say that future to future method is not possible. So that is what I'm trying to say here. There are some limitations on asynchronous process. First, let's understand this. Okay, asynchronous to asynchronous process is not possible all the time. Okay, there are some few exceptions. We'll see that first. First, we'll say future to future is not possible. So future to any async is not possible. Any async in the sense to batch, to schedule, are queuable. Okay. Anywhere it is not possible. Okay. The basic thing is future to future or future to any asynchronous process is not possible. But there is one more thing called queuable to queuable. Possible. But max is only two in a transaction. Okay. There is one more thing called queuable to batch is possible. Okay. Next, batch to batch possible only if we call other batch from the finish method. Okay, this is important. If you want to make a call from batch to batch, you want to make a call only from the finish method. Okay, this is one more thing. Batch to future, not possible. Batch to queuable, possible. Okay. So if you remember these things, you can understand the process. Now, what I said was future to future is not possible. Correct? Whatever the code we have written is the future to future. Am I correct? Let's see how the exception will come into picture. Extra 47. Okay. So if you go and execute now, see here, this is a one future method is executed. Immediately you are calling the other future method. This other future method is saying future method cannot be called from the other future method. Correct? See here, future method cannot be called from a future or a batch methods. Yes, 50 jobs. 50 jobs as independent. Independently, you can do this. But what I'm trying to say, same transaction I'm saying. But what you can do here is, what you are saying is, you can make the change. Chain of one queuable to other queuable, which means in the execute method, execute of queuable, you can call other queuable. Okay, the two in the sense, if you have used in a same execute method, you can't call more than two queuables, which means it's not a you know, linking, right? It will be in a separate transaction. So the separate transaction you can make as up to in the in the batch to batch also same thing. I don't think so. We have a limit on the batch to batch, but in the queuable to queuable, you can change up to the not 50. I think only 5, 50 or 5. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe it it may be increased. Okay, understood, guys. So you have a lot of limitations. So if you try to understand this, right? So you have to practice. So what is mean by the 50, and then I mean when we will talk about the 2, when we will talk about the 50, when we will talk about this feature to feature, right? So if you, I mean, I know that you are are trying to learn all these things from your your end, right? So you have to keep up your learning in the same fashion, and then try to practice yourself, okay, on these areas. I'll give the concepts only, but if you want me to give each and every line, it won't be possible. Okay, understood, guys? Sorry. Okay, so if we want to make this happen, how we can make it happen, right? So that's where this future method is having a two limitations. One is future to feature is not possible, and it won't accept the s objects, correct? So that's the reason we will have the one more thing called the queuable. From the queuable you can make it happen. Okay, so if I want to make this mixed DML operations into my queuable things also, I can make it happen. It's not only the feature, right? So I can make it. If it is a mixed DML statements, most of the things is only the feature method. But if I want to make it one more error log also, I want to make it a feature method, sorry, in in the queuable method. Okay, so any other questions up to here? Method is a chain. In the same fashion, we will use it, but let me explain you here. Uh, Fit apex class. Take this as a Salesforce example itself. Okay, as I mentioned, it will have the interface called the queuable. In this queuable, we will have only the execute method. Correct. In this execute method, it will accept the s objects also. If you don't want to pass anything, you no need to pass anything. If you want to pass anything, you want to make the constructor public demo queuable constructor. You will accept list of accounts, list accounts, if you want to use this. Okay, and click list account list equals to, then assign this list. and I can use this variable into my execute method. Okay, so in this one, let's see if I want to insert in the same fashion. Okay, I want to insert a list of, I have list of accounts over here, so I no need to circle again because it will accept the list of objects. And here if I try to do this instead of this user, it will do it. Once you have done, right, how you can change the other thing is you have the system.enqueue job. So there is something called yeah, so system.enqueue job. If you use this method into here, what happens is from your this one here, this is my class. I don't want to delay anything here. I can just use this one. Okay, so this one is requesting a list of accounts. You can just pass this new list of accounts. So here you call your system.enqueue job over here. So let me save this one, deploy this one first. So this is your Queueable class. In this Queueable class, I'm making one of the constructor over here. This constructor will accept the list of accounts. Okay, and this list of accounts I can use it in my execute method. Once I use this execute method, from where I can use this class, I can use this class from my class here. So here I'm inserting a list of users here. So I can just system.enqueue the job. However, we do the batch class, right? Database.executable batch. We'll have the system.enqueue job of the queueable method. This method will be executed over here. So let me deploy this. Expected token line number 10. Okay. Now if I execute this one, this will automatically executed over here. Okay. First, let's see this one. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Yeah. So for this one, now you will get the queueable as a separate thread. See here, you'll get the queueable handler over here. So now you receive the same error message over here, correct? The limit of exception. Now if you want to call one more method, one more queueable class from here, right? So in this case, what you have to do is you have to write down one more queueable class. Demo queueable error log. Okay. Data class demo log queueable. So here also the same thing. Okay. This implements the queueable. In this queueable, I'm using only one constructor. If I want to pass the error log object, so I can pass the error log object over here. Where is my error log object? This is my error log object, correct? What I can simply do is insert log. What I can simply do is error log to insert error log. So in my constructor, I'll assign this value. So in my execute method, simply what I can do is instead of log to insert. Let me deploy this to source also. So now you have done this one, right? So however we call the same thing in the execute method. Once your transaction is successful, if you have any of the errors, so let's say try over here. I can just prepare this one, this class itself. Okay, I'll prepare this everything. So demo feature insert queueable, demo queueable, and method from insert to this one. Anything I can write it down over here. Okay. Get message. Message inserting this. So here my class name is this. I can make one more call from here. This is a new queueable, and I'm expecting only the error log as an input. So I'll pause this. I think this is saved right already. So let me save this. Number 29. Come on. You're calling from one execute method to another queueable now, right? If you see here, now let's execute again. See here, now your queueable handler is successfully ran, and then everything is working, right? Now we can go ahead and then see your error log object. Where is the error log? Okay. Let me go and see the error log. See here now. Now the error log was created over here. Right? This demo feature, demo queueable, insert was done, the license limit was exception over here. Correct? Now your error record was created because we are making the chain of the queueables. So so someone asked me, right? So the limit is 50. If you do in this way, the limit is 50. Okay. What I'm trying to say here is, if we use the same thing again here, so you are making it two things in a same transaction, correct? This is not a separate transaction. This will execute and this will also get executed. So these will take as a two transaction. In a transaction, you can make only maximum of two NQ jobs in a single transaction. So this is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a one more very important feature that, I mean, if you want to call from execute to execute, so that will the chain of the methods that you can make it as up to 50. Okay, if you do in this way, if you do more than two or three, I mean more than two, you will get a the NQ job limit exception. So that is a two. Okay, now you guys are able to understand this NQ job, I mean the queuable jobs and the limits and all, right? Or any other questions still? Any questions, guys? This system.enqueue job is a the system keyword. When you use this keyword, you understand that it needs to be execute the queuable methods, the queuable interfaces. Okay. How we are using the database.executable job? These are the result keywords. Okay. These are the result keywords. If you want to execute the queuable methods, you have to use this as a syntax. Okay. So last time we were using this database.execute in our scheduler class. Why we are using this? This is a syntax to execute the batch. Correct. So this one is system.schedule. If I want to do a cron expression on the schedule class, I have the system.schedule. This is the syntax one. In the same fashion, we have the system.enqueue job for the queuable. Okay. So here you are making the queuable call. Okay. From this to here, and from this one more, from this queuable to one more queuable, you are making it a call, right? This is a one more queuable class. So one, two, and the second. Mhm. This is called this is called as a chain. Yeah. So someone is asking something. Yeah. I can understand a little bit. Is there anything? I mean, anything you want to understand? You wanna speak in Hindi? I will try to understand. So if you have any other questions, you wanna try to ask in Hindi, I'll try to understand. So that's not a problem, because anyway, so we are working on the technology, right? So technology, we want mostly use the terminology. Yes. So the syllabus, right? The syllabus wise, still the pending items are they're pending with WC as classes, deployments, integrations. These are the pending topics. So we have covered now this asynchronous process, correct? This asynchronous process is a very very important thing that other classes. So if you need some of the example and a normal Apex class, we can try to use that will be covered in the LWC. Okay. No, extended in the sense, see, I was off for the 2 weeks, right? So I'm just continuing the same thing, right? Okay, I'll show you this one. Module 7, see, this was done. Data types, writing unannounced with the Apex data types. These are done, right? Use the DML statement, sample programs with the concepts are done, right? And object relationship, SOQL, SOSL, sharing, sample program is done. So this Apex sharing we haven't covered, but the thing is, how many ways we can share a record? Hello, is it is my network or other network? I don't know. Hello, sharing, right? What I'm trying to ask you is how do you share a record in Salesforce? How many ways you can share a record? Sharing a record. Sure. See, since you guys asked me, right? So Apex sharing is what something we can implement from the Apex. Let's say here I have inserted account. Okay. As soon as I inserted account, there is something called one more object called account share object. Okay. For each and every object, we will have the share. Okay. For every object. So if it is standard object, it will be append with the share. If it is a custom object, it will be appended with, let's say, employee underscore share. This is the object name. So this is a predefined object which it will be inbuilt for every object. If for every customer, the standard objects. So this is the object name. So however you are inserting the record here, in the same fashion you will insert a record over here also. Okay, it's not that much big one. It's just the thing is to understand the what is the object name. Here the object name is share. For every object, you will get the share as the appended with the share in the end of the object name. If it is a standard object name, it doesn't have any of the underscores, right? So that's the reason you will get the account share directly. If you want to discuss about this one, so we can discuss about this also. Okay, because this is an object. So however you are inserting account record, you will you, you will insert the account share also. So in the module 9, right, the types of collections, you know, sorry, I didn't understand. Hello. Anyone, anyone. Okay. Let me give you the example. Here आपने this one. So you have this as subject fields. Come on. Sharing fields. Where are the fields? See here. Okay. You have all these fields. What is the parent ID? What is the row class? What is the group or user ID? Okay. So in this case, what how I can share is account share, account share. Okay. Here, to whom we have to share this account is matter now, right? So for this one, you have the something called the properties over here in the sharing object. So you have sharing object, right? In the sharing object, as I said, for every custom object, it will be appended with underscore share. If it is a standard object, it won't append the underscore, but it will append only the share. So these are the list of property names. So always, right? No one will remember all the fields. We have to always bookmark your developer.salesforce.com documentation. This is our documentation. Okay. In this documentation only, you will find out all these things. Now you will have this one access level. The field name called access level. Okay. So now if you put access level, what is the access level here? If I want to make it as an edit, we can make it as an edit as an access level. Okay? And read and all. Only three options are available. If I want to make this account record as an edit, I can make it as access level as account. And what is the parent ID? Parent ID here is what? The parent ID is my account ID. Correct? For this share, I'm sharing this account, right? Because this is the account. This account I have to share. So the parent of this one is this account. So I have to share the account.id. So here row cost. So row cost in the sense, what is the row cost here, right? If you see here, you'll get row cost as manual share or apex share, right? So that is called the row cost. So I would say uh, manual. And here is the important thing. So to whom we are sharing? User ID as group ID. So if you have the user, you can mention the user ID. If you have a group ID, you can mention the group ID. Right? Group in the sense that may be a public group or anything. Right? So if you have that value over here, you can pass the ID. If you don't have that, I mean, if you want to share this record only for a particular user, you use that. Or else, if you want to share with a particular ID group people, you can share that group of people. So this is required field. Okay, you have to mention this user ID fields. Okay, so these are the only the important things. So otherwise, nothing will be there. Okay, understood, guys? So now what you'll do is insert. However, you do the normal object. So this is an object also. Okay, object. In this object, you'll just say the account shape. So let's say here for time being, what I could do is where are you users? I want the one more user ID or group ID. Do I have any group IDs over here? Public groups? Any public groups? Okay. This would be user ID or the public group ID. Anything you can say. Okay. So if I want to share with only the user, I can pass the user ID over there. Let's say if I want to pass system administrator, this is my user ID, right? If I want to pass this user ID, I can pass this user ID also. Let's say for this is a group ID, okay? Why I don't want to do this user creation again. For this also. Come on. DML requires a subject a subtype. Let's share 14. Making this happen, account share. This is account share object. What I'm missing here, broadcast manual group ID. This is new account share. Upset or insert, whatever it is. Access level is not there. We have this access level, right? Edit. Parent ID is this. Field does not exist. Share object. So let me take this account share object itself. Access. Okay. This is so okay. For account, it's a separate thing. For account, it's a account. Sorry, no. For account share, it will have a separate things. Okay. For account share, it's a standard object. It will have the some of the objects. Sorry. So inbuilt fields. So account share level, account ID, and row contact level access, opportunity level access, row cost, and user ID. Okay. And row cause is not so only the only these fields. So here, right, if it is a custom object, you will use this share, the normal share. Okay, the sharing of a record S object. In this S object, you will get these fields. These fields only for the other, not the standard object fields. So these are the, if you are sharing with any of the the custom related object share, right? For those things, we can use this for account, contact, opportunities. So the system will have the inbuilt object. So this is the field names. Okay, so if you see here, this is account share object. In this account share object, I have these fields. Okay, so now it will save now. Right, so if I go and execute the same thing now, okay, required fields. So all these are required fields. So come on, list, contact, opportunity, case level, contact level access, edit, opportunity level access, read. Okay, so for the standard things, these are the required things. Account shared, contact access, field is not writable. Okay, because we made the parent dependency, right? Controlled by the parent. Okay, now we can see, if you execute now, right, your record will be inserted in the system. See here now, it is automatically, the sharing permissions public group was shared by using the apex share, right? Understood, guys? So so this is, this is one more object only. Okay, for everything in a Salesforce is object. Okay, what we have to try to do is, we have to search for the object model. So every time, right, for object model, just type the object model here. So what type of object model you want to get, so you will get the object reference, right? So that you will get all the fields and everything over here. Okay, yeah. So triggers is done, bulkification is done, order of execution I told you, uh, deployment. So this is what I'm talking about. So the deployment is not yet done. Okay, so deployment, governor limits we are talking everyday basis, right? Circle 101 exception, 150 DML statements, mixed emails, email. So if we want to talk about, we can talk about the governor limits again. Okay, and testing. So this module 11 is pending. So these things are module 12 is completed, right? Batch class, the this ones, batch, the future methods, schedulable class, everything is done, right? So these deployments, so don't you, so this is also comes under the deployments. We can show this one into the deployments. Okay, so module 13, I think I have explained you the web 2 case, web 2 lead, and assignment rules, right, already. in the I mean, in the administration part itself. So the last thing was LWC. So this is what I'm talking about. So the pending is LWC deployments, deployments. Okay. So, yeah, deployments. So why I'm extending was yes. Yes, please. See, in the latest things we are using only the LWC, but I have, as I mentioned, right, I'll give you some brief introduction about the visual support pages and our both the things. Okay, VF pages and our also. Okay, VF pages. See, if you have if you are working on a project where if you have the VF pages, the VF pages are very bold. Okay, but still, if you wanna see, I'll show you how it will be created and how it will be created. Okay, and Aura components are again. So this is also used some a lot of companies, but this is also outdated now. But still, I'll show you this. So if you are able to understand this LWC, these two things are not that much complicated. Okay, so very initial stages VF pages were. After the VF pages, Aura components was exist. Okay. After the Aura components, LWC was the advanced. Okay. But okay, but what I'll do is I'll explain you from the VF pages. Okay, from yes. So that is why I gave you the task. So if you're not able to complete the task, so that's where I'm always saying, right? If I'm saying about the topic, you guys have to. I mean, I gave the documentation already. In this documentation, you can go and get a lot of information. So if you are expecting from me, right, I can explain you. So I don't have any problem at all. Okay. But the thing is, I just want you guys to self-explore. The Salesforce or anything, right? Java or anything. It's not a specific to some of the modules, right? If you see all these modules, whatever I have explained you in these modules, you won't see the future batches, interfaces, all these things, correct? But still, we are explaining you because the reason is in the real time, whatever is the very important things. So those are the things we are explaining. Okay, understood, guys? Yeah. So so make sure that lend yourself a lot of information. So if you have any other questions, right? See, if you are not asking any questions after you reading, right?